Good evening to each and every one of us in this virtual research presentation. I hope that you are all doing well tonight. My name is Miss Krishna Glaze or Afable, and this is my thesis or my research in my master's degree titled Level of Stress and Coping Strategies of Teachers in Patnanungan District, Quezon Province, as basis for a stress management program. And as an overview of my presentation tonight, these are introduction and objectives, problem, scope and limitations, significance, definition of terms, literature review methodology, result, conclusion, and recommendation. So, stress is currently the world's most pronounced health risk according to the World Health Organization. And the researchers studied this because there is a need to address and take actions about the stress that people are experiencing, specifically the teachers that are one of the frontliners when the time of pandemic happens. It is important to make mental health as one of the priorities of the people, specifically managing stress. It needs to be talked about and treated because a healthy and clear mind is needed to have a productive and successful result. And in this study, I have here, or I use two theories, which are Hans Selye's general adaptation syndrome, or the GAS theory, and then Lazarus and Kaufman's transactional model. The objective of the research or this study is to assess the stress level among teachers and identify their coping strategies in order to form the basis of a program for stress management. And let's proceed to the problem. This study was conducted to measure the level of stress of teachers and recognize the coping strategies of the respondents to be used as basis for stress management program. Specifically, it aimed to determine the following. The first one is, what is the level of stress of teachers in Patnanungan District, Quezon Province in terms of stress to learners, stress to profession, and stress to school? What are the coping strategies of teacher respondents? And last is there any significant relationship between the stress levels of teacher respondents and their coping strategies? Sorry for the noise. And then let's proceed to the scope and limitations. So Patnanungan is an island municipality in the first district of Quezon Province. So I have here three public elementary schools as respondents, one integrated school, and three public secondary schools in Patnanungan District Division of Quezon. And I also use stratified sampling technique for the schools, and for having my respondents or the teachers, I use simple random. And the total of my respondents are 94. For the significance of the study, it is essential or important to the following. We have the supervisor, the principal, the parents, the learners, and the general public, as well as the Department of Education. So let's proceed to the definition of terms. The following terms are defined conceptually and operationally in accordance with how each is used in this study. So I have here the words such as coping strategy, stress, stress level, stress management, stress to learners, stress to profession, stress to school, and the stressors. For my methodology, or I'm sorry, for my literary review, I have here literary review or literary works about the following: teachers' level of stress, teachers' coping strategies, stress to learners, profession, and school. And the researchers systematically explored foreign and local literatures to establish both a need and background knowledge to support the study. This helped the researcher to have better understanding and wider perspective on this research. For the methodology of the researcher, descriptive method is a research used, and then this is also a quantitative research, and I also use hypothesis testing here. Descriptive method is a research method that aims to accurately and systematically describe a population, situation, or phenomenon. More specifically, it helps to answer the what, when, where, and how questions rather than the why. Hypothesis testing is used to determine if there is a relationship between the stress and the coping strategies. And of course, the researcher also used convex alpha, and it was also used as a measure of internal consistency, how closely related a set of terms are as a group. It is expressed as a number between 0 and 1. The researcher also gave letter of request to the school heads of the teacher respondents in gathering data. And privacy of the information was also included in the letter and the survey questioning. The schools were selected systematically through simple random sampling technique, and stratified random sampling was used for the respondents. And in terms of statistical treatment, there we have I have here the mean, simple random sampling, that's stratified sampling technique, and Spearman rule. Okay. For the result of the study, the result and discussions in was also in chapter 4 of my paper, or of the researcher's paper. And these are the total answers of respondents in the survey, and these are about the assessment on the level of stress of teachers in relation to learners, profession, school, and then of course, assessment on the coping strategies of teachers in Patnanungan district, and the correlation between the level of stress and coping strategies of teachers in Patnanungan district. For the conclusion, based on the findings of the study, the following conclusions were drawn. The first one is the respondents are extremely stressed according to the indicators of stress to learners, stress to profession, and stress to school. The teachers agreed and often use the coping strategies listed when they are experiencing stressful situations at work. And the third one is there was a significant relationship between the stress level in the profession and teachers' way of coping. However, there was no significant relationship between the stress level experienced by learners and job-related strategies for coping. Similarly, there was no significant relationship between teachers' coping strategies and the respondents' level of stress at school. Based on the findings of the study and um, the conclusions and the recommendations are hereby forwarded. The first one is learning action cell or LAC session regarding motivations to learners and discipline in answering the modules and other school activities. Systematic way of reproducing learning materials. Time management should be wisely followed to avoid difficulty in doing and submitting reports. The school administrators should have a program that supports teachers' physical, emotional, and mental health and the whole school community to manage stress well. Okay, and the fifth one is the school administrators should therefore assess the teachers' well-being from time to time to check if the teachers are doing good when it comes to the teaching profession and how are they doing so far. It can also help build connection and bond between the school administrator and the teacher. The researcher endorses the proposed intervention programs as shown in the Appendix 5 of the research paper, which is prevention and managing stress in the workplace. And that would be all. Thank you so much for watching and listening to my research or thesis presentation. Have a good night.